Welcome to another Vintage League here. Today we're trying out Gwenom the Remorseless, or as it's known on Magic Online, Egrix the Bile Bulwark in a Tendrils of Agony Beseech Storm Oops deck with a transformational sideboard. Let's take a look at the actual card though that we're focusing on today, not the online version, because Wizards of the Coast did not get the rights to Spiderman on Magic Online and Arena, so we have a Universes Within version of this card called Egrix we just saw, but this is the real one. Gwenom Remorseless, 5 mana, so it doesn't get hit by Fatal Push notably, but also 5 mana, so you can't search it up and play it with Beseech. You do have to ritual it out with your Cabal Rituals and Dark Rituals and stuff. Anyway, 4/4 Death Touch Lifelink, not bad. When it attacks, it becomes a Bolus's Citadel. That's very strong. When it attacks, till the end of turn, look top card of your library. You can play it from the top, and you can pay life. So the same thing as Bolus's Citadel, iconic, extremely strong vintage card you can find off of Tinker. But Gwenom's only 5 mana and only needs 2 black pips, so considerably easier to hardcast here. And it also has lifelink, so it can actually gain you life, which is pretty cool. And it's a creature, so notably you can't, Force of Negation it, you're not going to Spell Pierce it, you're not going to, Buster Storm the Tinker, that kind of thing. So, a lot of pluses here. You can't Fatal Push it, right? So a lot of pluses here. Obviously you can Swords it, it's not completely unbeatable, but, gets around a lot of the hate, and notably in our deck, it doesn't need the graveyard. So it's part of a big sideboard pivot that we have here in our main deck graveyard combo deck. So we'll go over the sideboard pivot in a minute, but just do the main deck first here. And again, if you're here, like, subscribe, and then throw a comment down below at some point. Helps the algorithm and stuff. Anyway, once you're done that, let's get into it. So the core of the deck here is just a classic Oops All Spells deck. We got 4 Balustrade Spies and 4 Undercity Informers, but no lands in our deck. And that lets us target ourselves and mill our entire library because we have no lands. And this searches for a land, so our whole library goes into our graveyard. That triggers the 4 Narcomoebas, which come into play. If we need to clear out something from our opponent's hand or take a look at it, we got 2 Cabal Therapies, so to do that can name things like Mindbreak Trap, which you might not have triggered yet, or a Force of Negation, which couldn't hit the one creature but could hit our Dread Return to win. And once you've done that, we use our Dread Return, sacking the Narcomoebas to bring back Thassa's Oracle and win the game. We have other ways of winning the game here too. So we have Beseech the Mirror, 4 of them, and that can just find a Balustrade Spy or Undercity Informer. You can also find a Goblin Charbelcher to win the game, which notably does not need the graveyard. So if your opponent's got like a Deathrite Shaman just sitting out there, you can win this way. We can also go Beseech the Mirror into Yawgmoth's Will, replay stuff from our graveyard, including maybe a second Beseech again just to get Storm count, and then win with a Tendrils of Agony. So we can win with Storm in the main deck, we can win with Goblin Charbelcher in the main deck, and we can win also with the Oops mill our library Oracle plan. So pretty resilient. And then we don't have any lands in our deck because we're an Oops deck, and because of the text on here, we have to make sure we don't actually have any real lands in our deck. So we got all these modal double-faced ones. 2 Agadeem's Awakening, 4 Fell the Profane, which is a pretty reasonable one. This can destroy creatures, which is pretty good. And 4 Boggart Trawler, which again is a pretty reasonable card against Dredge, especially, or some of the other graveyard decks that are more on the fringe. This can be really strong. Its ability. And these are both also really good with the pivot plan, because they turn into real cards then. We have a bunch of fast mana as well. Got 3 Cabal Rituals, 4 Dark Rituals, Soul Ring, Mana Vault, all of the 0 mana artifacts. Probe lets us know what we have to therapy, which is very nice, and we can find our therapies very often by milling ourselves. So the probe information is going to be very useful very often. Demonic Tutor, of course, broken restricted card. No Vampiric in here because of the card disadvantage. We're trying to, it's a bit slow. We really are trying to win turn 1 ideally. And then we got 4 Pact of Negation, so the game plan before we change into our pivot plan here is to just combo win on the turn, and then Pact is great at backing that up. There is a case for these to be griefs, but a lot of times you will need all of the cards in your hand. But if you wanted to play these with griefs, that does play nicer. If you wanted to switch these for griefs, that does play nicer into the sideboard pivot. But I went for Pact of Negation here, but grief is an option. If you're on the draw, they're both not as good because, like, even if your opponent goes, let's say, turn 1, you know, I don't know, Void Mirror or something, you're not going to pack that because you would just lose, and then you can't grief it, obviously, because you're on the draw. So they both have that issue, so it's not crazy to switch these for griefs. I think that covers all of the main deck. On the sideboard, we got our pivot plan. So the idea is we can side out the Narcomoebas, the Oracles, the Pact of Negations, the Spies, and then how I mapped it out is you would cut down to 2 Undercity Informers. You still gotta. One of the other reasons to play grief, or maybe even like a 2 grief, 2 Pact of Negation split here, would be that with the transformational sideboard, you're left with 2 kind of awkward cards. And I think Undercity Informer is probably the best option, or you could leave in 2 Spies because it's got flying, something like that. So that's slightly awkward. But anyway, you do that. So you board out all of your graveyard dependent stuff, and then hopefully your opponent, you know, boards in like a bunch of graveyard hate or whatever, or, you know, boards out their creature removal at the very least. Bring in some graveyard hate, you know, bring in some soft counters like Spell Pierce and whatnot, and you're going to bring in this big creature package, disruptive creature package too. So we talked about the Gwenom before. This can just, you play it off of your rituals, and then you can tap it, and then we don't even have any lands in our deck, so you can just keep playing your cards, and hopefully that wins you the game. It should. Also got lifelink too, which is nice. They keep letting you play stuff top of your library. We've got 1 more Goblin Charbelcher. 1 in the main, and then an extra one we bring in case, you know, the first one gets countered, we want to go for a second one. So 2 Goblin Charbelchers. 1 Ject. This could be a Shieldred. I think I've played the last very time I played Oops a couple months ago. I played a Shieldred in this spot. You could play the Shieldred, the Apocalypse. The Ject is more like an engine win con. It's a bit, you know, it's not as disruptive as Shieldred. Like, this does make your opponent discard cards, but the Shieldred tax on the drawing for the, you know, the 2 life is immediate and strong. So I like Ject. I played this in a few videos, and it's pretty good as an engine card. And the idea is it's a 1-of, because the idea is, let's say your opponent has a Leyline of the Void in play and a Pithing Needle on Goblin Charbelcher or something, and you just want like a big haymaker to get off of Beseech the Mirror in the 4-drop spot. That's the idea for Ject here. And it's also just pretty good on its own, but Shieldred is a, you know, similar card, a similar idea, so you could play either one. 4 Unstoppable Slasher. This card wins very, very quickly. It deals 2 damage, and then your opponent loses half their life rounded up. So even if your opponent's at 20, they go to 18 and then 9 on the first hit from this card. It looks like a 2-3, but it hits much, much harder. And it comes back, and it dies. Now, a lot of times your opponent's going to be boarding in graveyard hate, so sometimes you're not going to be able to bring it back, but they don't have like a Leyline or a Grafdigger's Cage. This can just come back, and they've got like a Soul Guide Lantern. You can force your opponent to pop it, and it, you know, wins very quickly. It's got Death Touch. It's just a pretty strong pivot plan here, and turn 1 off the Dark Ritual is pretty easy. For Dauthi Voidwalker, which does double duty here. 1, it's a pretty good clock along with the other forces of pieces of the sideboard pivot plan here, and also good against opposing Bizarre decks like Dredge, opposing Underworld Breach decks as well. Then rounding off here, probably the softest card in our sideboard, but Orcish Bowmasters is still an incredible card. it's just not going to be able to solo games on its own. So you kind of want this plus other stuff. It's just not going to win the game by itself. Just a little soft here. Going back and forth on this one, decided to keep it, but you want to try other stuff in this spot that, you know, has a bit more of a oomph to it, you can. But being disruptive is very good against, you know, a lot of decks. The disruption part of it is obviously very nice. And on top of this, we do still have the 4 Boggart Trawlers in the main, which can beat down and be disruptive. The Fell the Profanes can be actual removal. Beseech can still find Belcher or other stuff here. You know, we still have like disruptive therapies and stuff. And all the fast mana. So pretty nice pivot there. You know, if you're especially, yeah, the dream is to go like game 1, graveyard plan. Game 2, your opponent boards in and mulligans to like a very disruptive hand, then you just play like threats and win. And even if that doesn't work, then game 3 you have the option to either stick with that plan or board back into the combo. A lot of decks, especially the Lurrus ones, aren't running Leyline of the Void, so if you just board back into the combo and just go for like a turn 1 win with the Pact backup, you know, that can win before the Grafdigger's Cage and stuff come down. Alright, I think that's about it. Let's get into the games here. Alright, here we go. We're on the play. Looks like they got a Lurrus. I think we keep that. With the drain version, and they got the a lot of the fast mana. It's a problem. Looks like we're against the drain gifts deck. Maybe we should have mulliganed that hand. A little slow. Oh. I just want to remove the Lotus. Makes the breach lines harder. Um, feel like they got a wall of counter magic. I feel like just playing into that's not a brilliant plan. They got like mana drain. And they very easily could have 3 counter spells here. They have no lands. Maybe this is cowardice, that's going to cost me, but feels like just ramming this into drains as a fluster storms and traps is a bad idea. It's not good for us. Sure. We can play one of these now, right? So do we fight over this? Probably not, right? Might be able to kill us here, actually. Breach. Yeah, I should have fought over that. Or gone for a spy line. Yep. Oh, they have the brain freeze. Yeah, we should have gone for it, I guess. Only have 3 cards in hand. We probably could have went for the spy got in there. Played it too. Yeah, I should have just gone for it. Just dumb. Yeah, it's on me. Should have just gone for it. Just actually, maybe on the play we just stick with the same plan. Maybe it's all Belchers and stuff. Maybe on the play we stick with the same plan and then go for it on the draw. I think and they had 3 cards in hand. They definitely could have just had like Fluster Storm Trap, but like, and like even like a pretty good odds of it, but like Yeah, I probably should have just been more aggressive and gone for it. Or at least fought over the Belcher. If I fought over the Belcher, I don't know. Okay. I think we can try the sideboard plan now. I think that's the plan there. Yep. Try that. Hopefully they bring in a bunch of graveyard hate. Alright, I can keep that. And that's fine. Yep. Stock up, stock up, stock up. Okay. Well, Cabal Therapy looks pretty good here on stock up. Yeah, that's a good stock up. That's a good screenshot there. So they've got a Mana Drain and a Mind Break trap. It's a good draw. That's spell 1 though. If we go 2-3, they can trap it. Which is annoying. We just gotta play this. That's spell 2 here. Red. Oh, that's a good one. That does stop us. That's a good one. Alright. Oh, we played our... Yeah, we played out our other one. Yeah, it was a game again, because we played out the Boggart Trawler instead of... Now they can mana drain stuff. We really need them to play a spell. Then we can play out our Egrix. Soul Guide Lantern, sure. Okay. Egrix. Yeah, Drain and Trap. They can't do either of those, so. Alright, that was a good game. Got to see our deck do its things. Concession to Egrix. Yeah, that's pretty fun. Alright, so off to the next round. Alright, here we go. I sort of recognize this person as a Dredge player. Keep. Try a Dark Ritual. Alright. I think they are a Dredge person. They saw the, what's it called again? They saw our, I think we have to board into our sideboard plan because they saw our, you know, our land that suggests oops. The Dread Return can like just reanimate something, so we'll leave that in. We'll leave in the Tendrils package. That can just be bait, depending on what they've got. think this is as good as it gets. So we got the Boggart Trawlers, we got the Dauthi Voidwalkers. I don't know. We can't beat Leyline of the Void, so I think we have to do this. Okay. They got 7, so we're probably dead. No, they are... Oh boy. They are not on Dredge. Karn. Okay. Screw that up. Well, yeah, they did, okay, so it didn't matter. So yeah, this is actually a slightly better plan for us then. But, without a Dark Ritual, we can't do anything. Yeah, the Karn's really good here against us. Yep. Try and play out enough to try and get them to not have their graveyard hate. That's interesting. So we can make 2, 4, it only gives us 5, right? Do we just want the Dauthi Voidwalker? Or do we want the Ject? I think we want the Ject. Got Menace, so even if they stand something up, we can still. And this provides a little disruption in the discard there. Jewel, ring, stuck up. Yeah, that's bad for us. That's probably GG, I assume. They'll get a either a ring here or a jewel. Both will just kill us. Jewel. A Tezz, interesting. Time Walk. Okay. Top. Yep. Oh, that'll kill us. They got 2 tops there, right? Yep. One got some water. I think we can bring in our graveyard package again. Let's take out the Dauthi Voidwalkers, the Orcish Bowmasters, the Jet, one Belcher, Egix, oh, the Slashers. Yeah, I think that's about right. I mean, I guess the, yeah. I'm not sure on the probe if I need that really. Could just be like another Belcher. Yeah, let's keep it. Let's try that. Get like a Rav Trap or something? No, we got it. Alright. Good match there. Oh yeah. We didn't figure out them game 2 and kind of boarded a bit poorly, but they had the turn 1 Soul Gut Lantern, so I don't think any plan would have mattered. Actually, having the second Charbelcher was better, so yeah, good match. Alright, here we go. We're on the draw. We've got, it's an interesting hand. We've got, if we can find any, like, artifact mana source or dark ritual, we can play the Undercity Informer right away, protected by 2 packs. I guess the thing is, even if we can play the Undercity Informer, we still need 4 mana. Maybe that is too risky. Yeah, I think it's too risky. Our opponent hasn't revealed a Lurrus. They're going to be jamming something into us. We have to try and beat. Keep 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. So if we therapy turn 1, we can go Ritual Ring Informer. Do we need all the mana? Yeah, we need the Petal if we want to do all of that on turn 1. So I think we do put the Beseech back and just try and go for the turn 1. There's a lot of cards here that will just kill us. Mono white initiative, like anything except for a white plum will kill us. Bizarre. Grief would be bad. No! Shit. I don't think we scoop. I think we just try and champ into a win con here. I certainly do wish we had our Beseech back. Maybe I messed that up. Probably get one more draw step to draw a win con here, and then we die. Or we might just die here, to be honest. I assume they're looking for a Noxious Revival? Or do we know what's in their hand? No, we don't. I assume they're looking for a Noxious Revival. That can stop our combo. I I don't want to play a spell, because then they can Noxious it back. I assume we're just dead, though? 2 Icarids. 3... 6... 9... 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They hit 2 chills here. We're still alive. So I think we just pass and we get one more turn. We get one more draw step to try and champ a Winicon. Certainly regret the therapy now. Instead of the Beseech, that seems... I don't know. Grief specifically is, I think, one of the cards that could really mess us up here. Three, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we are, I think, just deterministically dead here. Let's just see what's in their hand. I assume it's a Noxious Revival. Yep. Yeah, I guess if we would have kept our Beseech, we win that one. So a bit unfortunate. I guess maybe that was my mistake. Maybe we could have just put the Petal back and just gone like turn 1 therapy, turn 2 win. Maybe I was greedy. Kind of thought about the grief afterwards. Enough to kill us. So they know that we're on the what's it called again? They know that we are on the combo plan here, so I think we do board into the side package here, at least for this game. See if they bring in Leyline of the Void. Not I'm realizing it's not really amazing against them. Like the Dauthis are good, and we've got the main deck Boggart Trawlers. I guess we could have also drawn a Boggart Trawler there. That was another one. could have helped us out. Yawgmoth's Will would have been good. We had a lot of outs, we just didn't draw them. It happens. I mean, yeah. Do we just keep this against the 4 Force of Will, 4 Force of Negation, Mindbreak Trap deck? I mean, there's just no way this works out, right? Oh boy. One, two, four. We can win turn 1 around Force of Vigor. We can't beat, like, anything else. Ugh. I think we just have to keep it, though. Alright, they kept on 6. That's bad for us. I think we have to play the Dark Ritual first. Alright, well that just kind of worked. Kind of tempted to board back in the combo. What do we need for the combo? We need these. We need the Amoebas. We need the Oracle. We don't need the packs. I think Egrix is bad here. Orcish Bowmasters are not good. Maybe we could do kind of a hybrid. Unstoppable slashers are the unstoppable slashers are very stoppable here. Eject is not good. Pact of Negation, Egrix, Orcish Bowmasters, Unstoppable Slasher, Eject. Maybe the Probe can go. Like, we've got the 4 Dauthi Voidwalkers, the 4 Boggart Trawlers. I don't know. We're still fairly soft to hollow on even with this plan. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a turn 1 win, but again, only if they don't have a ley line. I guess if they have a ley line, we can get like a Dauthi Voidwalker. I think because we have a bunch of good draws, we keep it. It takes out a lot of our lines here. Can draw 2, go down to one, two. Play, man. We will play when we feel like it. Let's see. Never let your opponent rush you if you're thinking. Let's see. The reason that they wouldn't discard there is if they have a counter. I think because they almost certainly have a counter spell, we're just going to play the Agadium's Awakening tapped. They didn't even discard there. Alright, now that we've got a second Beseech, that makes things interesting. Ooh, they have a misstep. All right. I think that takes us off of most of our plans then. Hollow One, Bizarre, Narcomoeba. That is a good draw. Okay. So we're at 5 Storm, we need 9. 6 Storm, 7 Storm. So I think if we go Beseech, getting a Dark Ritual, then we can Tendrils them, right? Let's make sure. Black. So Beseech, getting a Dark Ritual will leave us with 4 mana, and then we can Tendrils them. That's a pretty cool win. Now, that was fun. Our opponent has disconnected. They are salty. Alright, we got that one. That was fun. Alright, here we go. I am a little concerned this is too slow. There's a lot of like, if this is a Lurrus combo, we can just die. I think I will mulligan. Let's see. Oh boy. I think we keep it and try and draw a mana rock of some sort. I think this is better than going to 5. We can make 5 mana on turn 1, which is not good enough. It is if the Belcher was we got the Belcher both times, which is frustrating. It was a initiative creature, we win. I think because of the Pact of Negation, this is good enough. It's just, I think we do wait to play the Belcher out. We draw any sort of non-land mana source, we can try and win next turn. Now they can have like Spell Pierce and stuff up, which is annoying. We can't bargain that. I think we are waiting here, unfortunately. Feel like we're just going to run into Spell Pierce. They have a recall? Ah, shit. Well, I guess we should have gone for it. Oh, it's the PO version too. That's bad. I think we just go for it at this point. Probably dead next turn. Well, we're in a bad spot now. That's going to get them more counters. So, we're dead. Yep, they had double counter backup after their recall, so I think there's maybe a world where we just run the Belcher out turn 1 where we win. I don't know. We're mulligan harder. I guess the first hand could have been interesting. Could have therapied early. Out of PO, I'll just screw it. Yeah, they got it, it's fine. I think on the play we will stick with the same plan. Turn 1 win with no protection here, but I think that's good enough. Actually, it's not good enough because we have to sacrifice this one. We only have 2 Narco Amoebas. We can't actually trigger the Narco then. Yeah, having 2 Narcos means this is unkeepable. Yeah, that second Narco screwed us there. And this is unkeepable, obviously. Unfortunately. I guess so. Put back the Narco, obviously. Oh, that's a tough one after that. I am tempted to put back the Sapphire so we do get the Probe Therapy. Ugh. This is an amazing 6 and a really tough 5. We can just go Therapy, Force of Will, turn 1, try and win turn 2. But then if they brought in like a Graph Digger's Cage or something. Just die. I think I'm going to put the Sapphire on the bottom. I think it's too likely they've got something when it keeps 7. I really hope we just draw a mana source here. Flooded Strand, Trainer, Ancestral, Force of Will, Crypt. Okay. Alright. This deck doesn't play a ton of graveyard hate, which is kind of the thing. I don't think we can really beat it with our man plan. Maybe we can. Do we board out the graveyard stuff? I think the slashers are not very good. But the Dauthis don't really hit them either, I guess is the thing, right? Like, this is hard. The orcs are good. I think we'll try it. Could be wrong. I guess on the play they are going to bring in some numbers of Soul Guide lanterns and things on top of forces. This is the question, right? Like, is this good enough? If we draw like a Beseech, we can try and win with Tendrils and stuff. We have a turn 1 slasher. I think we keep it. assume they've got a swords here. Alright, well, we'll see if they kill us here. And let's see if they kill us. Force of Will, 4th Earlingus, Snapcaster, stock up. Alright, I think we got it. Alright, that was a good one. The Vexing Bulba would have stopped a lot of our combos, but did not stop the unstoppable slashers. Alright, here we go. We're on the play. Yep, that's a keep. They need double force here. Alright, our opponent has showed up. They're not on Are they just F6'd? So they're on something not blue. Probably. Okay. Yeah, we have no idea what they're on, so we'll side into our sideboard plan and see if that's any good here. Why do we have a giant? Okay, we're back. I figured out the giant card problem. So let's take out this stuff and see if that's does anything. Alright, let's give this a try. Alright. Keep that. They just go turn one Void Mirror or something, though, we will die. Oh, they could have a Void Mirror. Jet. Trinisphere. That's pretty brutal. Alright, well, didn't play around that one. Okay, it's Patchworks. We can't play anything unless we draw 3 lands. Alright, we can just scoop it up. Alright, we'll bring in the combo on the play. I don't think the packs will do anything, so we'll keep those in, out. We have 4 more cards. Honestly, it might just be like the therapies, I'm not sure. These are doing anything for us, really. Maybe it's jacked, I don't know. You can keep that in as. I kind of like the option of having the jacked. Alright, let's try that. They have a ley line. That'd be bad for us. Looks like they got a ley line. They have a trap. Okay. That's bad. Well, we got close. Okay. There are cards that can get us out of this, namely Black Lotus. That is not Black Lotus. It's not a bad one. One, two, three, four, 5 mana. We can play the Informer. There's no reason to play anything else, right? I think we play the Informer and then we have to pray. Alright, this is about as close as it can get for a game 3 of a trophy match. We can play around trap. We can't play around, like, we can just mill ourselves and then we can play Dread Return. And if they've got something that affects us, then we lose. But we can play Dread Return here for 2. We cast Dread Return, targeting Thassa's Oracle. Pay 2. 1, 2, 3. And we see if they got something. Alright, we got the trophy. Very cool. Very, very cool. That was a lot of fun. That was a good league. Gwenom trophy, Jack trophy, very cool. Alright. Alright, so we got a trophy. What a league. 5-0, 5-0 trophy. Really, really, really nice. Had to play every single game of the league, all 15 games in order to actually get the trophy, but we got there. And I get some really strong opponents too, like Wiki, VWXYZ. I know I think VWXYZ is tied for trophy leader right now. Wiki just won a challenge recently. And all really strong decks. I mean, we played against Lurrus Breach, Lurrus PO, Dredge, Tinker, Tezz, and Sphere Shop's all just really good decks right now. So just very, very happy with how we did. Yeah, and happy with the deck too, obviously. How would I change it? And I'm very happy with the main deck. I mean, there's obviously a lot of the core of the main deck is the Oops Shell. That's very powerful. And we have just like the smallest combo packages, alternative combo packages available, like the Yogg-Will Tendrils with the Beseech, the Goblin Charbelcher with the Beseech. Yep, and I do like the sideboard. We did win with Gwenom. This is the, if you missed the beginning, this is the Gwenom, the Remorseless card, but it's the Daybreak and Wachi don't have the rights to the Spider-Man cards online, so they're these alternate versions, so we have this Spider Hero clearly here, Egrix. That's Gwenom. We did win with this card. The Eject could be a Shieldred, the Apocalypse, which should be fine. I think the two Gwenoms are actually fine. I mean, getting the 5 mana is not impossible here, and then this is just a card that you can't Fatal Push that can just win the game, which is very cool. Slasher won us a match. I think the Orcs are maybe a little suspect, but I think if we're transitioning into the aggro plan against like a number of decks, we do need them. I guess the question would be like, if you're up against Lurrus Control, we played against 2 Lurrus combo control decks with the Lurrus PO and Lurrus Breach, which all both have a bunch of counters and removal, but we didn't play against like a Lurrus Orc deck. I think I mean, obviously the sideboard being at its, transformational, you can kind of try and tailor this to the meta to see, like, for the decks we know that are going to bring in the big graveyard hate items, how to beat them. And Dauthi Voidwalker is excellent. Slasher is surprisingly good. I mean, Orc is a good card, obviously. Just we don't have any card advantage in the deck, so it's hard to like just solo with Orcs. But, like, Orcs plus other things can be good, obviously. I think it's fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with that. Yeah, if you got any ideas, or thoughts, put them down below. See you next time.